Eyo Festival is something Lagosians are proud of. It's something we take to heart. It's our heritage. We're proud of it, right? Then you have stupid people infiltrate the conversation and say, oh, Arnold is not Lagosian. Arnold should not be here. That's very stupid.
The Eyo Festival by itself is actually from Remo, that happens to be my hometown. It was brought to Lagos by someone to entertain his in-laws.
Are you Muslim or Christian?
I'm not neither.
I think we're 50% Muslim, 50% Christian, and 100% traditionalist.
I'm telling
there's
you.
Almost one who doesn't believe. No, like
I don't know.
At a certain point where you won.
Yeah, I was born in a Christian household.
Good,
okay,
good.
Again, we're in a moment where might is right? We're back there.
We never left it. Some
Yep.
people came and made it look like we did.
Yeah.
The Obamas, and meanwhile they were still doing it at the back.
Yeah, Libya and
But
Syria.
we
they
never
still
left
did
it. So I would defend NBS with my last blood, but I would say this one thing. The base here, why did you pick that base here? It didn't make any sense.
Do you think a Murphy can happen to power?
Hello guys, you're welcome to Drinks and Mics. My name is Tunji Andrews. I am finally back. It's been quite a number of weeks. Was on holiday, took some time off, but I'm back with the gang. And I need to start by saying, I mean, you expected Ugo Dre to be the one to start the show, but I do not entirely know what happened. Is I ate something or didn't eat something?
I didn't eat something.
What has happened? And he's a little under the weather, but he'll be back next week. But still with the gang, to my right, Otuba. Otuba is giving me tips on how to live life.
And you've excelled. You've gone past him. The student has become the master.
I'm listening. The way he was telling me, you should have gone like that. You should have done this.
He was. Bro, he's teaching you how to do it cheaper. That's what it is.
No. He's
Not cheaper, just smarter.
You just went here. No, you should have done this. I'm like, hey, yeah.
And the rest of us, all we can do is just listen and just daydream.
No.
Wish.
Otuba, great to have you on the show. And to my left, we have Sir. He's going to be a small chief soon. Sir Arnold Dublin Green. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I saw pictures through Dirty December. It looked like he was just determined.
I was trying
to ensure. Because I'll just see the pictures still dirty, and he's like,
I was trying to dirty it, but I tried my best. I did my best.
Yeah. So December knows we did it. December knows we did it. But on the show with us, we have someone with a lot of insight that we're going to ask. I mean, I just found out some things just before we went on, but we're going to ask a lot of questions, especially because, anyway, before you people start labeling me. But yeah, welcome to the show, Pelumi Joseph.
Thank you.
Expert in finance operations. He's with DAI Nigeria. Let me not talk too much. Let him tell you exactly what he does and who he is.
Okay. Thank you very much, Tunji. And thank you, Dele, for having me here. Thank you, Arnold. I had this conversation with Dele over the holidays while we were not dating. And he was like, I should show up to the podcast, and I'm happy to be here.
Fantastic.
So I'll just give a brief background about myself. I've been in the finance, consulting, development space for about 20 years and worked through different parts of life, starting out with PwC in audit. That was where I started to learn the basics of finance, and then went on to work for British American Tobacco in Nigeria and then in Eastern Europe. Worked in the Caucasus, lived in Tbilisi in Georgia, and then understood that part of the world and the dynamics with Russia, which was a really great time. And then came back, worked in manufacturing, finance, the whole works, left that to go become a consultant in investor relations, working with financial services clients, who used to be my initial clients when I started at PwC. And then over time, I started to have development partner clients, such as the FCDO at the time, USAID and Gates. And then there was the opportunity with DAI, Nigeria, a fully owned subsidiary of DAI Global, to become its director of finance. And then I took that opportunity in 2020. It would be remiss of me to say that the fact that the pay was benchmarked to the USD right in the midst of a currency crisis did not play a role in making that switch. But it did work out for my professional career as well. It's really given me a lot of multilateral experience, as well as just understanding the dynamics from a governance standpoint, even as you think about the commercial outcomes as well. So it's been that, and obviously industry's been affected by the USAID cuts.
Yeah. I was going to ask about that. I mean, I didn't want to jump straight into it, but I needed to know, because when we heard the news about the US pulling back aid and stuff like that, because we never collected money out of it. We really didn't know the implications. We didn't know the real ramifications, the gaps it might have left, if there were any. But how? What was the impact of that policy decision really on apart from the fact that you
You're out of a job. You're out of a job.
No, I do have a job. I do have a job. So that's not at risk. But, the impact, if you think about it from a Nigeria standpoint, I think the first thing you want to look at is to say, when there's development assistance, a lot of it is usually technical assistance, right? And of that spend, what typically you would find in country, that the beneficiary or the host country would be somewhere between 30 to 35% of whatever amount was announced, right?
Interesting.
And
Sorry, say that again.
If there was an announcement of a certain spend, typically, let's say on an overseas development assistance program, because you need to separate this from the trade side of investment and then from the overseas development assistance side of things. On the ODA side, what you would typically have found was that about 30 to 35% was what was going to get down to the host country.
So what happens to the rest of the 60, 70?
What you will find is there will be the people that work for the entities, right, in the US, right, or in the home countries of these donor partners. If it's in the US, like our own parent company would have the people that work on the project,
So that's where the expenses
there will be some of that. There would be things around you getting, whether it's some hard equipment, right? If it was educational tools, right? Those things would need to come on ground. If you needed some...
Where would those hard equipment come from?
Typically would be
from the US,
mostly from the host country, right? Yeah. Typically,
because that's the deal that they have.
Because it's also part of how that economy also grows. Yeah. So it's an ecosystem, right? So effectively, what you will see in terms of pure impact at the local level will be somewhere around 35 to 40%.
Is that good? That sounds terrible,
right? It's 40% more than what you did not have.
Yeah.
And you have to also have to do the math from a standpoint that this is typically what was agreed was it should be 0.7% of the gross national income. That number has continued to go down to 0.5, and then for like the UK will be 0.3% starting, this fiscal year in April. And obviously the tax citizens are saying we are going through a crunch, and this is happening. But again, the understanding of the fact that not the majority of that funding gets to the host countries is really misplaced by
so you guys, forgive me, I just want to ask one last question.
No
because the thinking was, and this, I've been thinking about this recently. What is this money used for? Because I personally, as in my own business, I'm thinking of, I've been thinking about it for a while. I'm looking for matching funds for to enable, because in the business I do is really around creating resilience for Nigeria, Africans really. So I'm thinking of how I can find matching funds, not matching grants, matching funds for, okay, I was about to say daily, but there's no how, my mind couldn't just,
You can use me. Don't
my
worry.
mind could not just use the example, but there's a collard out there who wants to set up micro pensions.
Yeah.
You know, he contributes maybe 5,000 naira. There should be something to match that 5,000 naira to be able to make sure that it's sort of an incentive. So I'm looking for that matching fund. But I was thinking, is there funds like that out there? But forgive me for digressing. What is the money used for?
Okay, so with every development partner, you have thematic areas, right? And each mission, I'll say, with like the US mission, it will be at the time when you had USAID, you would have different groups, right? There will be the economic growth team, for instance. There will be the agriculture and sustainability team. There will be the governance team. There will be the health team. Now, depending on what area of your own business fits into
their own objectives,
right, you then need to look for opportunities like RFPs that will then match into that. So your request for proposals when there's a grant, for instance, right? Typically, the best placed positions for you to find those matching grants are with the non-governmental development partners, like a Gates Foundation, right? Or the MasterCard Foundation, who are very focused on vocational training. Gates has a big focus on health, but also anything that can improve financial inclusion, right? So you need to sort of know what is the driver of the thematic areas of each of the development partners, and then look to match into that opportunity.
Sorry, forgive me, everyone. My business is always, it comes first. Everything. But yeah, do you guys have any questions for him before I go to Fed shares investigation?
No, not necessarily. I mean, one thing I would say there is, it's sort of taking me back, or taking me by surprise to know that only 35% actually comes in. It sort of reminds me, or I think about this book written by Damisa Moyo, Dead Aid. Yeah. Right. The whole concept of Africa doesn't need that. I know she mentions it, but I think it's an old book, and in passing, you sort of forget it. And I guess my question was also going to be, when the whole US putting out US aid from Africa came about, we were all trying to compute what it means to the development of the country, which would then affect growth, which would then affect GDP, and even beyond the data, which will affect the everyday Nigerian. Can you talk us through that, how it's affected what you've seen before and after?
Okay. I mean, it's funny enough. I was flying back from Abuja yesterday, and I was on a call with someone, and the guy overheard me. And then he said, "Where do I work?" And then I told him, and he then told me he just left USAID. One of the guys who'd actually been affected and just left in September. Wow. I used to be what you call a contracting officer responsible. So when you're trying to get your contract. And what you would find is that there's two important distinctions to make. On the overseas development assistance part of it, right? That number around, the 35-40% downstream flow is correct. That's what you'll find typically. On the trade side, which is where you're then finding a lot more of the conversations happening today.
Okay.
It's a higher percentage that then comes to the host country.
Which is what's needed anyway.
Which is what is truly needed, right? Yeah. So what you will find is the new slogan, if you work in development, is trade, not aid. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
So there is that direct decision to switch from that into trade. And with that happening, what I expect is that there should be better outcomes on the continent because you have those partnerships. In terms of the impact, what has happened is it's led to, of course, jobs being lost. But if you think about the entire overseas development assistance industry, $200 billion a year, right? Of that amount, Ukraine is probably 50 billion because of the infrastructure rebuild that has been happening over the last 3 years or so. And I mean, they've been at the top of the pile. However, the portion that has come to all of Africa, if you look at 2024 numbers, around about 40 billion. Your GDP in Africa, I would say, is what? $1 trillion and two, 1.2 trillion, 1.3. So that's a 3% GDP sort of hits if you're looking at it through the numbers. But what's even more important is what it's been able to unlock. You will be surprised to know that many projects that even the big tech companies were doing, right? They were doing it in partnership with USAID, right?
I know.
Yeah.
So there were so many unlocks that were being created by the development partners that people did not know up until this shutdown happened.
Oh, interesting.
And now there's going to be those.
The thing
those
that's paining me is that it's almost as if it's when I got there that the bread wants to now turn to
So
stone.
it's actually just time.
So on the trade side, does it affect the XSIMs, the next SIMs, and the GEC SIMs in Ghana? And
so what you're going to find is the Millennium Challenge Corporation is going to become a lot more active. That's the US foreign investing side of things, as well as the DFC.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the British Investment International, right, that replaced CDC, they're getting a lot more active as well compared to what you're seeing on the FCDO front. So it's basically a switch of where those resources are being allocated.
But how easy is it to unlock those things? We had Landry here a few shows ago, and he's in trade finance, right? And he talks about how arduous, how difficult it can be to unlock these things, especially from these guys.
Yeah, it is.
We've sat with several other guys, and it can be near impossible.
It is difficult, and typically what has happened is
If you're not
the big contractors typically, like we would typically be the prime contractors, and then you work with the subcontractor.
Yeah.
Now, what is happening is there is a significant localization drive that the US is pursuing.
What does that mean?
Localization
They
drive.
really want to work with locally owned entities, not those that are subsidiaries of
foreign
US or UK owned. So there's a big push, right? Which is, you look at, for instance, the growth capital that John Vance, the guys in Cocoa have gotten, right?
Yeah.
A lot of that money came through from BII, right?
Yeah.
And it's okay. What are we seeing in terms of traction? How are you growing? What structures do you have in place? And as you build those, then you become a lot more attractive. It's still difficult.
to get it.
I think there's been a direct change in how the approach is to really focus on local entities.
BII has been pretty
aggressive, right? They've tried.
Some funds here, some here and there.
Yeah.
Every time I hear it, my mind is always like the final question.
Yeah, it's okay.
I've always looked at those things as rocket science in the way it comes across, trying to access those funds and the capital. It does feel like you almost need a degree in understanding it. And then it's only a few people within that ecosystem that know it, and it just continues to.
And it also feels like you need to know someone inside. Let's say as it is, right? It feels like you need to know someone.
So my question, are you the person?
But also debunk.
I think the way I'm going to respond to that question is every industry has gatekeepers, right?
Uh-huh.
And I am one. I am not. I might know the gatekeepers, right?
Okay.
But what I'm going to say is it's like, everybody says it every time. We say all the treasury guys know themselves, right? And it's a closed circle. And
it's not the treasury circle is not as closed as this one. Treasury circle, at least treasury circle, bad as it bad. Bad as it bad. You meet you meet them at
on the streets.
On the streets, you meet them at drinking whiskey.
Yeah.
You know who the treasury guy is because you can tell that the whiskey they are drinking is different. And they party really hard. So these guys are treasury guys. But y'all are, you don't party that heavy. You're really very
depends on who you meet.
So the question is, how do we meet you people?
I'm here, right? But I think, again, it's what you find in the industry is many people that work in the industry are of a more mature age, right? And have been there. So you need to build the relationships and connections and trust over time.
Over time.
And then as you start to do work, is typically you start doing a piece of work, you build that relationship, and then bigger opportunities sort of
come
show
through.
up. Yeah.
Okay. We'll talk later.
Gosh.
Sorry. So moving to geopolitics and global economic conversations. Powell is under investigation for the Fed's $2.5 billion headquarters renovation. Now, there is a conversation around whether he misled lawmakers about the project's scope and cost. My thinking is simple around this. He has refused to follow orders, so we will stress him. Chevy is where it's because you are comfortable.
I thought this thing was sorted, right? There was a video of Trump. Trump actually went to the building, right? You remember that video?
I remember the video. Yeah.
He went to the building with Powell. Then Trump kind of pushed out the wrong narrative, and Powell had to jump in to say, actually, if you look at there was a piece of paper with Trump,
and
which
the guy beside him,
which he corrected the impression. So I'm really not sure, what exactly.
No, so
this is a shakedown, and I think that honestly, Powell is our last line of defense. After
Against
Powell,
what though?
Against
what?
Against
What
whatever
do
Trump
you
stands
think?
for.
So it was this person. What's his name?
Objectivity.
Chris Rock.
Yeah.
No, not Chris Rock. No,
Dave
Chappelle.
Yeah.
That called him an honest liar.
Who Powell?
Called Donald Trump an honest liar.
Yeah.
Like, he is really, there's very little BS in what he's telling you. You just have not heard that much truth in the past that you feel he's lying. No, he can't be telling the truth. Do you mean he just, because when he came into power, he was saying, Venezuela, we should be taking over their oil.
Yeah.
Why? And you guys didn't believe it.
Yeah.
He said something about Greenland today, where he was asked a question that the Prime Minister of Greenland said they'd rather Denmark over US. And the guy's like, I don't know what the guy is smoking, but I feel differently about him, about this, and I'm we're coming, whether or not.
No, and I think I'll speak to the Jerome Powell one first, which is obviously Chairman Powell can basically write this out. He's supposed to leave in May, right?
Yeah.
So he has time on his side. You think about it politically, and it's a case of Trump thinking about the midterms and thinking about the stock market. How do I keep the market going in a certain way? Where he's saying,
sorry, I just saw.
It's okay. We'll get to it. But you think about it, that it's really just focused on pandering to his base, right?
Yes.
And everything that he's doing, aligns with that. Now, in terms of the Greenland situation, I think you have to look at it historically and say, how did the United States of America come into being in the first place? Which is, America, when you had the first colonies in the Northeast, they had the Louisiana Purchase, right? Bought 15 or so states from the French, west of the Mississippi River, expanded. They had the Adams-Onis Treaty, right? With the Spanish, bought a lot more states in the West, bought Florida as well. And Alaska was bought from Russia, right? So even New York was bought from the Dutch. So if you think about it historically, America has gone out to purchase different pieces of land that it thought was important to their existence. Now, even parts of places like Texas, where they had the Mexican War in the 1840s, they did grab those places. And then because they thought about it strategically, and America is the only great power that is bordered on both sides by two great oceans, right? They've always thought about national security holistically. So do I think there's a possibility that they would go give an offer to Greenland to get them as part of them? I think it's a real possibility, right? Because this is what they've done historically. This is not new.
But it's not an offer he's trying to. It's not.
I think
making an offer.
an offer.
So here's the thing. that I'm not very clear about. The US had strong military presence in Greenland before Trump came into office.
Yes.
When he came into office, he wound back that presence. Mm-hmm. So, and Greenland has never said, leave this place as your base. In fact, they are more than happy for you to be there because that is security. That's because they basically do not have a military. Yeah. You get. So this is really their de facto military. So they are more than happy for you to be there. The question is, I've tried to wrap my head around it. It's what is the correlation with owning when you already have a military base. These people are happy for you to be here. What is this issue about sovereignty really for B? That's what I don't get.
It's surprising that Tunji is questioning Trump.
No, I don't get it. No, I'm trying to understand it because two things. Russia is not necessarily saying we want it. Mm-hmm. China uses the waterways around it, but China is not the country to go and take it over just because they want to protect their vessels, right? So what is the reason?
No, you go ahead.
Okay. I mean, I think there's been some talk about them having some particular rare earths.
Finish.
Right?
There you go.
Right. And I think, again, we're in this period where everyone is jostling for position in terms of what resources. So it's the great land grab again.
Yeah.
And so whoever has those resources,
basically,
you're basically subject to some risk as well.
So there was a funny clip I saw yesterday. It was an episode of The Diplomat on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
And you saw that clip.
Yeah.
Where basically it was this vice president who had done something dodgy. And the president had died. The president died of a heart attack when she found out what had done. But she basically put the map out and she explained, the vulnerability from Russia all the way to to sort of Southern Africa, and that the last point where the UK had control of nuclear weapons, and from there to like the US was just open sea, and that if a Russian submarine was to operate there, that they would have done what they wanted to do before you even detect. So there was some military thing that I think some of these series are also done with
a bit of truth in there.
Based on insights.
It's interesting, but that just says everything. And I think one of the things I've gotten tired of for a while, and people feel I'm pro-Trump. It's not because it's just that I'm tired of the BS. I'd rather you tell me you want to slap me rather than say there's a mosquito on my cheek.
Yeah, but
I mean, let's.
You're gonna get slapped anyway.
You're
gonna get slapped anyway.
You get, and Trump is the first guy. He's like, as in,
I think there's a difference between being a leader and governing in a certain way, right? And I think your words really matter as a leader, and when you have the kind of force that you have behind you as the United States of America. And he got voted in the majority, so which tells you that is what the American people want.
Yeah.
Is that what the world needs? We'll find out, right? Because I think we're going into a time in history that, in an uncanny way, really resembles the Roaring 20s. And I think we all need to just sort of put that in context of whatever.
Was it in the 1920s?
Yeah.
Like in what way?
I think if you think about it, economically, you had a lot of the great innovations of the time, right? So you think about the radio, that was when it became mainstream, right? You mirror that against what then we have today with the craze around AI, right? Automobiles had come in the 1910s, but then the big
boom
decade of adoption was in the 1920s. We had the EVs in the 2010s. The big decade of adoption is where we are today, right? You go through the 1920s till 29, and you had a significant market run-up. And the only time there was a flash crash, if you want to call it, was in the panic of 1921, okay, you say we had a bit of a panic flash crash, right?
29 also had
we're not there yet, but I'm walking you to a place, right?
Yeah.
And then you had that in let's say 22 with the tech stocks going down.
You think in 2029?
Well, no, I'm not saying history. History does not repeat. It does, right? Today. And you look at what you had with Trump, right? Where he goes America first. He wasn't the first person to say that.
Yeah.
That was Woodrow Wilson in 1915.
Okay.
The same year Trump was getting elected in 2016, right?
I'm enjoying this.
So you have to look at many of the.
We have a conspiracy theory.
I'm not a conspiracy.
What else have we got? What else have we got?
I'm just saying. You have to go back.
Yeah.
Try and look at what has happened and let's sort of like make some sense out of it, right? Because I think that you typically have things happen in cycles.
Yeah.
And human memory is always short enough to forget many things.
Yeah, of course,
right?
100%.
You know, this is what 100 years after the people that probably lived through those moments, they're all dead.
Yeah,
and you've not been able to pass down that knowledge directly in a certain form. So we'll see how we pass.
I think there's no denying that history patterns definitely.
Yeah,
history based itself on a pattern, and I'm not.
No.
So I totally just I wish the rest of the world would just own their SHIT. You know, I think a lot of the world, and this is speaking as someone who actively avoids conflict. I generally think the world needs to be more confrontational about what they actually mean. Mm-hmm. You know, and stop
by just dancing around it,
simple issues.
I do understand that, but the problem is, I have a problem. I'm a big fan of female leadership. You know, there's always this running joke, and no offense to anyone, but that if two female leaders are upset with each other, what would happen? There's just malice. So if we had more female presidents in the world, we probably have more countries not talking to each other. You know,
probably have more countries not talking to each other,
which is fine, right? But for us men, we have so much ego, and that is why we have a desire to build atomic bombs and. And I'm saying is this where you want to go is only going to lead to some sort of war where lives will be lost.
Yeah.
My sister was telling me the other day in Germany that the government is saying people should come and willingly enroll into the military.
Yeah.
Now, if people don't enroll and they don't get the kind of numbers, they're going to grab
conscript
and put them in the military. Yeah. And that's where we're going. Right? I mean, I'm not sure that's where what I would like to be living through in this times, but that's where the world is going.
That even reminds me, we're not planning to talk about this, but the Nigerian government was talking about, hiring lobbyists, or at least there was a rumor about the Nigerian government hiring lobbyists. I totally like conversation. I think I have seen a lot of people come out to say, I've seen a few media houses come out to say no in the Nigeria of today that people are. I'm like, shut up. Do you realize that narratives go farther ahead of your intentions? Your intentions might be pure, but the narrative of what your intention is has gone 6-7 miles ahead of you and destroyed everything you could have done when you showed up. And since we do not have anybody consistently managing our narrative, which is what I've said it on the show a couple of times, but that's what.
But I think
we still don't have ambassadors, do we?
I think it's been announced that
there have been nominees, but I don't think they've been confirmed yet.
It's been confirmed. Yeah. No, I don't know if they've been. I don't know if they've been
$9 million in the lobbyists.
I don't know if they have been, but
no, that's the story that came out yesterday.
First of all,
but there's no confirmation.
I don't even know why it's news.
And I guess the government is not going to confirm anyways.
But wait, it's a going cost.
It's an ongoing cost, right? That you need to have.
Nigerians can be weird sometimes. God, it's like saying you have a business and you don't have a head of communications.
Yeah,
PR. Yeah.
I mean,
it's stakeholder engagement. Yeah.
Wow. Nigerians. All right, so talking about the Iran protest and the impact on global energy market. This I did not understand. I was on holiday. I didn't want to care what was happening here. I said you people were fighting. Sorry. I take this very seriously. There were protests in Iran, and
they switched off their internet.
They switched off their internet.
Yeah,
they did clamping.
It was quite serious.
So it's only Starlink.
Wait, does anybody
but Starlink
know what
got
happened?
shut down? Did Starlink get shut down? Starlink got shut down.
But I think it's because of the sort of technology it uses. They're able to get some packets.
No, they actually shut down.
No,
they shut down Starlink. Yeah, from my understanding.
Oh, so Iran is saying they were going to hit U.S. targets. Let's stop this. See, Did you
hear what Trump said when they said that to him? It was like they remember what happened to them the last time they said they were going to attack U.S. targets, that they got blown up. And I think again we're in a moment where might is right. We're back there.
We never left it. Some people came and made it look like we did. Yeah. The Obamas, and meanwhile they were still doing it at the back.
Libya and Syria.
We never left it. Might has always been right.
So that fancy plane, that triangular plane.
Yeah,
they put it back on. It's I saw it today. It was about to take off. So they obviously started positioning ships and gun planes for possible strike. So it's very possible that we might see strikes in Iran very, very soon.
Could this be good for Nigeria though? If Iran is hit, nearly 20% of the world's oil
goes through that route.
That could do well for crude oil prices. Yeah.
It sure would.
I'm just looking at silver linings. Please do not judge me.
But then what happens, right? What happens because, sorry, going back to America, I guess America sneezes and the world catches a cold. We all know that Trump wants lower oil prices. So he's been saying this for a while because he's using it to control inflation. Mm-hmm. My view is one of the reasons for Venezuela. He's trying to push Venezuelan oil online and whatever. They're just trying to push more oil online. What happens if that happens? If Iran goes offline, oil prices go up. Going back to America and Fed and Powell, does that mean does that mean Powell, there's more pressure on Powell to cut rates? Because I also agree with you that the pressure on Powell almost makes no sense because it's out in May, right? I know that we're seeing Trump doing everything in his strength to also push mortgage prices down by trying to pump $200 billion into mortgages. And that's tiny, right? Compared to a $13 trillion, $12 trillion mortgage market. This should also frighten the narrative of if Iran goes offline, oil goes up. It should frighten that.
Yeah, I think there's a story about oil prices spiking 2% just in the rumor of it. Plus, the thing with the Venezuelan thing is that people do not even put into context is Venezuela is owing China a lot of money, and they've defaulted, right? Mm-hmm. And China is cool with the default, right?
Mm-hmm. People have been Zambia defaulted on that.
China's cool. But the thing is, China now owns those assets, right? So except, of course, US is going to stockpile the Venezuelan oil. They can't sell it because global economics.
I think the first bit is Venezuela is producing 1.1 today, right?
Yeah.
Peak Venezuelan production was 3.5.
I think Venezuela 900 and something, 980.
So
that's a pin drop.
Below one, yeah.
Okay,
so it's tiny.
So 1 million.
They're less than us. They're like Angola levels.
So when you think about that, the problem is you can't obviously ramp up production overnight. This is a 10-year play to get back to, 2.5, 3 million. So if you have Iran go offline, what does that mean for OPEC Plus as it is? Is there spare capacity?
Who is OPEC Plus again? Are they still alive?
It's us plus everybody else. OPEC's way to see it. It's plus.
Which is, can they ramp up on that front? And is there still the opportunity for the shale producers in the US to still ramp up as well?
Are we still talking about shale? I thought that.
You have to. You always have to, because the US is still the largest producer today, right? So, is there idle capacity that you can fire up to actually get that offset of what you lose from Iran? Because I think part of what the shale producers have done is they've tried to keep the market in balance so that they don't go below their own cost of production and then mess up the market prices. So it's going to be a very, very interesting time.
Yeah.
But I don't foresee a US strike in Iran anyways.
Yeah, I do.
They'll let the work. They'll let the work, take care of it.
It's not in the favor.
Yeah. Anyway, back to Nigeria. We had a rally, local market rally.
Actually, before we go to this, I was going to ask the question. Do you think a Murphy can happen to power?
What's a Murphy?
What is a Murphy
and power?
Which of the Murphy parts?
This is a very interesting conversation.
Which of the Murphy parts?
So after power leaves office,
he goes to jail.
He gets picked up. Yeah.
He goes to jail?
Yeah. I mean, he goes through.
Okay, because of the.
Why not?
Very, very possible.
Why not? If the FBI director
plus Trump doesn't forgive easily.
Yeah. I mean, you would think that the FBI director, Jim Comey, right, the former guy, the FBI, we grew up watching this, right? And the all-powerful FBI.
So that's why it's yes then.
Yes,
very
yes.
Very yes.
Yeah, like when you realize how serious this is when all the former Treasury secretaries and all the former Fed chairmen across both party lines are having to release a joint statement. And all the central bank governors
around the world
statement.
So we stand with power.
Because everybody knows that immediately this happens,
these
then
are something.
My own president too.
Yeah.
Can do the same thing.
This is not just about Jeremy Powell, right? So it's about.
So basically, Powell should be resigning from London.
No.
Somewhere where doesn't have an extradition treaty with the US.
There's something very critical about this Trump Powell thing, right? I did feel at some point that the other side kind of used Powell as the last level of defense because the more Powell refused to cut rates, the longer he stayed, the more Trump's policy direction had failings here and there. The gaps continue to show. So, for instance, when the whole trade tariff conversations, after a point, we saw normalization of inflation, job numbers were cooling a bit. You should have cut rates at that point. Delaying it 1-2 quarters.
I don't agree with this, your cutting rates argument. I'm sorry, but...
No,
what do you mean?
I don't think it's about cutting rates. I think what he's saying is that the president didn't feel that he could push his own economic theories through this.
But it is about cutting rates.
But central bank is meant to be independent.
So what was Powell's? What was Powell's own? What was Powell's?
Because at some point support.
So in a sense, it does, right? And this is one reason I'm for a cut. Let me explain.
You could argue it the other way. You could argue that it.
No, but it does. Let me explain, right? So the two things that we're looking at. Sorry to go back to US. Two things you're looking at is home ownership and jobs, right? You had the lowest, one of the lowest levels of new home buying. And the highest level of mortgage rates around the rate hike cycle. You had the lowest amount of jobs being put in the market around the rate hike cycle, right? And that's what Trump was trying to push. Trump pandering to the midterms, whatever it is if I know that Tunji can get a job, buy a house, and pay his mortgage, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
And as long as Trump is concerned, as long as Trump is concerned, that rates needs to go down for those things to happen because the data shows that when the rate hike cycle started, jobs went from 500,000 a month to about 100,000 a month. Okay. New home buyers went from about 30-40% of total home sales to 25%, right? 30-year mortgage rates went from 6% to about 3%. Powell's on the other side is inflation.
Simple.
Right.
That's his mandate.
Yeah, inflation. Cuts
unemployment.
Yeah. So,
but if
you guys, is interest rates and inflation.
So let's do this. Let's do this, right? Let's do this. Picture Nigeria under Goodluck Jonathan.
Okay.
Can you remember?
Yes.
Right? Goodluck Jonathan had certain policy agendas. He wanted to remove subsidy. He was trying to do so many things. There was one person that actively stood against him. That is not as if he stood against him, but his statements always was in variance with the president. So much so that the president had to remove him from office. Ironically, that person he removed from office and Powell shared the same office. It's just in different countries. Right? Now, it is possible that the opposition could have, I'm not saying they did, because in Nigeria, it felt like, it seemed like, I don't know if it was, I can't tell, I was not there, but it did feel like that office was doing the work of the opposition with power. Because you know this office is not something you can just toy with. You can't just move it, and it takes a lot of work. But if it stands against you as a president, there's a lot of work you have to do to be able to go around him. Do you get? Now, my thing was Powell's consistent stance, which I felt could have softened. It almost felt like, I see it as inflation, I'm not moving. I don't care what you think. And that could be right?
So I think the scenarios are different. In the Naira situation, the CBN governor at the time, he believed he was almost like the EFCC, the accountability
chief accountability officer.
Exactly. His focus was more on, money is missing from the federation account. That has nothing, frankly, we are trying to stick with the principles. Has nothing to do with inflation. I mean, obviously, the excess liquidity would be causing inflation. But I'm just saying that conversation was very, very different, right? In this case, go and speak to any American. Just yesterday, there was some lady that I was reading her article. She said she doesn't have power for 6 months because her light bill has gone beyond her income stream. You speak to any average American today, just call your friend. What were you paying in power bills in April 2024? And what are you paying now? I can tell you for a fact, it's all doubled. Right? So there is a real
inflation issue.
Right? Plus tariff, plus, this was Trump wanting the American dollar to devalue, right, to weaken. These things are valid concerns. So the data does not support me cutting interest rates at the speed at which he wanted it.
Could they have found a middle ground?
There's always a way around it. Because I think...
But I did feel... Did you now, I still remember vividly the first Fed meeting where Paul was expected to cut rates and he didn't.
That was in July or August, if I remember.
Last year, right?
Yeah, where he then delayed till September.
If you guys remember his stance in that conversation, everybody was expecting him to cut. Trump had said he should cut. Everybody, the pressure was everywhere. Go back and look at that video. It almost felt like defiance. And I'm not sure if it is, but it appeared like defiance. Now, if Trump now takes it personal, I understand.
And that's a fair point that he can take personal. Like, presidents have that prerogative, right? However, when you also don't make...
He should resign from Nigeria.
No, let's also say this. Let's remember that the Fed...
I just got that.
The Fed chair is only one of 12 governors. So they go to a vote. Right? It's not only him that is going to make that call. He's the one who's going to present it and give you the minutes of the of the meeting, right? But it's 12 people. So are you going to target each and every one of them? And of course, there was the case with the black lady and her mortgage and all of that. But that's the challenge you have to face. And when you speak about the housing situation, you've spoken to the demand side. The supply side has been extremely constrained pre-COVID, right? Where there haven't been new buildings being built. And then you've had land prices go up. That has affected the prices of housing. And that has also fed straight into rental costs, which is a big inflation number.
There's a looming property prices coming there as well.
Exactly. So there is the supply side. You hear, or you saw the tweet last week where he talks about not letting the big PE guys, right, like Cerberus and BlackRock go into the market because they'd bought up most of the new property that was coming up and then turned it into an investment class by itself, which then could not allow people
get access.
So you have to think about the supply side constraints as well when you look at the picture.
Anyway, shall Paul.
Good luck.
We are behind you.
I couldn't even say it. He couldn't come out.
He's our last line of defense. Oh
my God. But I'm actually quite intrigued by Trump because there are things that when they say your intrusive thoughts took over, he doesn't.
No
There's
filter.
no intrusive thought.
No filter.
The guy
No
lets it
filter.
go.
No filter.
Trump, so Powell leaves in May. Then there's
Haskett coming,
then
isn't
there's
it?
midterms in November. So if midterms go as he hopes, I mean, the next 3 years, God help everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we know who's coming, right? Basically, the Haskett guy. That's who is basically pushing.
But I'm saying that. But I think that the midterms might maybe temper
change.
temper the behavior.
Oh yeah, definitely
Right?
for sure.
If they have an overwhelming win, it's the floodgates are just.
I don't think there will be any. They will. I think they will.
You think they will?
I mean, with all this
I
ICE
think they
thing
will.
going
So
on,
no. So the ICE thing, right? So
I'm
I've
sorry,
seen.
but we're just in America. Been in America for a long time.
Sorry. Yeah, we need to move.
We need to move.
So I have seen the ICE conversations, and I totally agree. Somebody's going to shoot me now. I look at what the conversation is in the US.
Sometimes I don't know what Tunji's going to say. Just what are you going to say?
So I'm evolving, right? I'm evolving.
I don't know.
As in I'm evolving.
I don't know what I'm going to guess.
So I also look at the UK. And I look at the way parts of Europe has become so liberal that not only have you watered down the essence of culture in those cities, you have now almost even lost culture in those cities, and you've lost it to different cultures. Now, those cultures, whether they are good or bad, is a different conversation altogether. My thinking is, forget US, forget UK. I would be really pissed if Nigeria was fully, had a exchange, and I saw people from the mountains of Caucasus
But don't you think
all across
But don't you
Nigeria.
think that's already happened to us? Don't you think
No.
with colonization?
No.
English.
So we might have borrowed, borrowed their ways, but we're still Nigerian, right?
I think so.
I would
When
be
our
upset.
religion is also being tainted.
No.
I
So
think it's
I
already
think
happened
those,
to us.
I think those things are questions of, and again, forget.
Yeah.
These are people in Lagos who are very Christian or Muslim. When you go to the interlands, my village, they are still very traditional. they will. I remember. So went to bury my dad. After the whole burial, then the guy called one of my uncles called me to the side, and it was like, "Now we now need to make you a man. Let's come out." I'll put one shrine. I was like. So we're still very traditional.
Yeah, but the fact that you felt funny
You are
about
going
that.
to become a chief.
No, but the fact that, okay, I guess we're now going into something else. But the fact that we frowned on our traditional ways, our traditional,
we in the cities, did.
Colonization, they say we are 50% Muslim, 50% Christian, but it's none of it was actually.
Do you know what I think? I think we're 50% Muslim, 50% Christian, and 100% traditionalist.
I'm telling
there's
you.
Almost one who doesn't believe. No, like
I don't know.
no, and I explained this in a certain way.
That he said, what are we saying? We all know these things.
Yeah.
Even to this thing that we do on Drinks and Mics that Ugodre forces me to give him.
Yeah.
Do you know the whole spiritual implication?
No, tell me.
Oh my God.
I want to hear. I actually want to know.
Also, the whole idea is they are spirits, and you need to pay. So there are some cultures, like my culture, after you do that, you open. So you put it, you hit it, you open it, and then the person who gives it to you goes to the door of the house and pours a little to the ancestors.
Yeah.
That's my culture.
Yeah. I think that's a lot of us. Yeah.
Do you get?
Yeah.
So what are we talking about? I mean, we are 100% traditional. What I'm saying is that I would feel very uncomfortable if I saw white people take over every single thing that is in Nigeria. Now, this is not me being racist. This is just me being, I want to hold something true to Nigeria. I would like you, as wherever you're coming from, whether Kenya, whether Uganda, whether Europe, whether Luxembourg, just come to Nigeria, experience my country. If you want to stay, fine, but be you. I would like to own and be Nigerian, right? So if the US is seeing what is happening in Europe, and Europe is a very cautionary tale right now, right? Whichever way you look at it, if you look at Europe and you think this thing can be us, in fact, this thing is probably us. Yeah. And you say you want to go after it with ICE, it might be high-handed, but there is an argument to say, guy,
okay,
can we scare people? Can we at least let's scare people? Let's
make it unattractive.
Let's make it unattractive.
No, which is
at the very least,
which is a point I hear you say, and it goes back to if you brought it back home to Nigeria, when people start to say, who owns Lagos, right? And that conversation, because the people who are natives will then say, we've been here. You can't just show up from somewhere and say nobody owns a certain place. And while America is the home of the what's that? Land of the brave. Land of the brave, home of the free. Right. What you find is a lot of what happened in terms of this population move, these migration moves, they were designed to help offset either population declines or labor force weakness. Right? And what has happened is the guys who were the host countries, their fertility, total fertility rates just declined. Just fell off a cliff. So they're struggling to replace the natural order of things. And the guys who've come in, man, we have to ramp up
every 2 days,
right? So at the end of the day,
like fly.
At the end of the day, you're seeing the directional movements, right? Go against the host country. So that's really what it is. It's a trade-off that you've made to really help your economy because it was supposedly cheap labor who were going to fit into a system, but at the same time, these people, rather than acculturate and get embedded into the system, created their own
ecosystems and culture. Ecosystem.
Yeah. There's many places you will go in the west of London, right? All the way down to Hounslow. And you will find, in Southeast Asian, writings for everywhere on government buildings. You go to many parts of Minneapolis. The hospital writings are in Somali and all of that, right?
Canada.
So there's a lot of that going on, but it was the US that brought them in.
Everybody that gets to Peckham is always shocked
at the
number of Nigerians.
So but you know the difference. The average Nigerian, when he goes Nigeria. When he goes into Peckham, still wants to say in it, right? Yeah. Still wants to acclimatize and acculturate. They will speak Yoruba, they will speak Igbo, they'll speak their language.
But they still want to.
They still want to be part of that.
No. Largely so. The cultures that are really the bone of the conversations are those who have completely left the culture they met and have not touched it and have lived like they were living back home. From marriage to everything.
This is very sensitive. It's very sensitive.
Last. So I'm just saying for my own thoughts, and I'm very pro. For instance, I'm also very.
So you pro immigration? Is it are you anti-immigration, or should I not ask it on the show?
No. Am I anti-immigration? No, I'm not.
Okay.
I am just pro people that were here. Right? So for instance, let me explain what I mean. I'm Lagosian, right? I'm Saleko, Onikoyi. I see all the social media banter, and it's really done by a lot of stupid people, right? Forgive me for the word, but what they're saying is we would like to keep our culture. Like the Eyo Festival. It's something Lagosians are proud of. It's something we take to heart. It's our heritage.
I'll keep quiet on that so I don't create a world war here, but I'll let you finish.
So it's our heritage. We're proud of it, right? But then you have stupid people infiltrate the conversation and say, oh, Arnold is not Lagosian. Arnold should not be here. That's very stupid. I want Arnold to be here, and I want to take Arnold to Isaleko when they're doing Eyo Festival and show him
how it's done.
I want Arnold to be wowed by my culture.
And appreciate you.
You want Arnold to be a part of it.
I want Arnold to experience my culture because it's my culture. I'm an Onikoyi. I have access. Do you get? Mm-hmm. There's a difference between Arnold shouldn't be here. That's stupidity, right? That's complete stupidity.
So I think, and the reason why I said I didn't want to go to the Eyo situation is, if you look at it historically, and you find I'm talking about a lot of historical stuff. So there is the Eyo Festival by itself is actually from Ikperuremo, that happens to be my hometown. Right?
Can you imagine?
But I just have to put it out there. No, and I want you to take this for a history lesson.
Yeah, give us, educate us, right? I want to know. I'm curious.
And I'm curious. Just, you find that it was brought to Lagos by someone to entertain his in-laws, right? And it then became something that was taken. This was in the late 1800s, right? It then became.
So then, doesn't it sort of like?
Wait, I'm going to finish that because I know exactly where you're headed. But what I'm saying is, these are people of a similar tribe, already.
Similar tribe, yeah.
Right? Okay. So once you go outside the tribal group, it then becomes a bit of a complex conversation.
Just the same way a Thai person would want to show me his food. He would want to show me his cultural heritage. Course, yeah. It's just the same way I would want to show you my. So, for instance, if I were to take Arnold to where my mom was born, I would like to. We're going to eat amala. As in, it's not the amala that you eat in all those. We're going to eat the proper, as in, So it's culture. And just the same way, if I were to come to your hometown, I would I mean, you're not going to start showing me the museum of. I want to see the heritage, right? Yeah, so it's about owning heritage, and I feel it is what makes the world a beautiful place because we are all different and we're all proud in our differences, but we also come together as a global community. Now, what I'm totally unsure of, or I don't seem to understand, is this whole let's just kumbaya. Kumbaya. Yeah. We're different and we should be different, right? It's not a bad thing to be different.
I agree.
It's a bad thing to be different. But anyway.
I just think that the underlying drivers of whatever clampdown obviously sends a certain message, right?
Yeah.
So it's okay to be different. And I don't think there's ever been a time where we didn't know these differences existed. But I think once you single out a particular group, you then make them the target of victimization. Like you remember when there was the
abuse,
Asian hate, right? When Asians always had
even
to hide
in Nigeria,
America,
Ghana must go and things like that.
But then you think about anti-Semitism and all that stuff. So once you sort of put a target on the people's back, you don't know where that's going to end.
You don't know where it comes. Yeah. So I agree with that. I'm just saying it's just my thought about the fact that at the end of the day I'm just not sure if we're going about both sides the right way. Yeah. Anyway, Nigeria's NGX. We're almost out of time. Sorry, it's me that led the show. That's the problem. Ugodre would have left here. Cease. But you guys enjoy the conversation. Please let him know.
It's a fresh conversation.
Let him know.
We miss you.
So there was a rally. I'm not entirely sure if the rally was repricing or people just realized that the CGT was
not going anywhere. I think on the show we've said it, right? It's not going anywhere. The market will just reprice it and you just move on.
I think I saw a story, was it yesterday or today, about, I don't know how true it is.
Sorry, isn't this an English shield on your ring? Isn't that the English... That's very
Jesus
English.
Christ.
Sorry.
Father Lord.
It's extremely English. United Kingdom English. Oh, my eyes are terrible. Yeah, that's the English.
Can you see the name in the crest?
No, I can't see it. We'll look at it later.
Okay. If you see his name on the crest, it will make sense. Okay. Anyway, so as I was saying, so there was a rally at the market. Equities massively undervalued in USD terms. So even in modest foreign interest caused the prices to move upwards. Which I've not followed anything. So which equities moved upwards?
So there's some Bloomberg screenshot today that I shared. I think I shared it in the group. So the best performing stocks this year, are all penny stocks.
Yeah, I'm seeing them now.
Yeah,
May Baker, Jai's Bag,
Deep Capital, Nimet, E-Transact, Square, May and Baker. They've all done, Covington have all done 50%, 15 to 120%. Also, I guess what performing stocks are also mostly.
But what's interesting though?
Who is this Mark Nichols? What did they do?
They've been there. I think they do stuff around like, is it around health or something to that nature?
What's interesting though is some of the stocks, their volumes have increased. In a weird way. It's not just the price. So I mean, normally this stock's price small, right? So 1,000 Naira can move them. But some of these guys, FT and Coco.
But again, what you
I'm just saying about the liquidity. The very quite illiquid, right? So it doesn't take any
to move them around.
When small caps move like that, I don't see it as a. Because, like I said, it's
not a bellwether for what's happening, really.
Yeah, right? but regardless, though, the NGX. I mean, we always.
No, but we talked about it last week that we think that the market should be able to replicate the returns or more of last year.
Of last year,
because the thing is, where currently valuation is probably pre-COVID, and right now, what you've had over the last few years is just where a lot of we've repaired the balance sheets. So the banks have raised capital. Right, we've removed forbearances, so essentially the clean balance sheet. So balance sheet is open for growth. A lot of the consumer guys also had dead balance sheets issues. They've repaired that and also repaired their working capital situation. So really, from a valuation perspective, if you look at the PE of the market, it hasn't moved from.
It's still
quite
So this is the year that value catches price.
This is the year where we should outperform.
I think there's one other lever that we haven't fully baked in, which is the impact of the CIT reduction, right? Which would expand earnings. So if you think about it, you're going to go from 30% CIT to 25%. That's what the new tax act says, right? So that frees up 20%. That's effectively or if you did it over 16.7%, right? That you're getting. That would come through in terms of just pure profit. If you layer that on top of having improved margins because of cost efficiencies, and then you having a lot of let me use the FMCG guys, impute switching costs. They've moved a lot of stuff from imported into locally generated. You will see an earnings expansion, and then you will see a pricing re-rating as well. That's my expectation.
I mean, it will be interesting to see at the end of the year how much of that actually impacted or turned into good profit, because, sometimes just the fact that the money is not there will
cause bad behavior.
Exactly. New uses, new wastage.
New private jets.
As in, they're like, wait, why are we... This
Why do we have to share this with the guys, eh? No.
Can we just buy a new one? Please, we have 5%. All right, so before we go, NBS meeting ahead of December inflation. The NBS, the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, had a meeting with Nigerian Economic Summit Group, and the goal was really to basically put our minds to rest that inflation methodology
makes sense.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we've discussed it several times.
You see, this is a problem, right? And
this is the FAFO.
When it happened, I said, see, first of all, the base year, why did you pick that base year? It didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Immediately I saw it, I was like, this
I'm very
base
surprised
here.
that now they're trying to engage because everyone told them that this spike is going to happen in January.
Yeah, and even the central bank not necessarily moving the needle on NPR was also because
So that speaks to when we're talking to Mayo and say, when we ask the question, does central bank have their own inflation data?
Because
because clearly, the credibility of the MBS is questionable at this point.
I don't know if it's at this point. I think for a while.
No, I would die there.
No,
we were there when the credibility was being created. You see,
I'm saying once what was his name went to Afrexim now.
My boss, Dr. Yemi Kale.
Yeah, once Dr. Kale went to Afrexim, I thought it was a different day, right? And I thought that when we had this rebasing and inflation reviews, it felt like they were working to an answer.
Yeah.
Oh, the answer was determined.
Yeah.
No, there was an answer, exactly. An answer was already determined, and then
find a way to get
how do we get back to those numbers? And you think about now the decision to average out over 2024. I think the communication around that should have been clearer.
Yeah.
And if you chose 2024, on what basis was 2024 the base year? And I think that created a lot of non-clarity around that decision in terms of the base year.
So I would defend NBS with my last blood, but I would say this one thing. That decision made no sense from any statistician perspective. It made no sense. Why do you pick a historical peak year?
Yeah.
Because you want
for your base year. No, what it means, because what it means, inflation. Inflation is not a number on its own.
Because you want it to be lower.
Inflation is not a number on its own. Inflation is a number compared to last.
It's historical.
Historical. Yeah. So if you then pick a historically high year for the base effect, it's like you start at the top of the mountain. Where are you going to? Everything down. And I know that there are doctors in NBS, proper doctors who know their onions. Okay, I don't know if they're still there. God forgive me. There are doctors in NBS who know their onions. But my thinking is, how did they all sit together and thought this was a good idea? Especially because they rebased two indicators in that same period. GDP, inflation. And you picked two different years.
For two different things.
So it goes back to the point I made, which is there was an answer.
But this is what we're telling Tunji now. When you have a Trump that is telling power,
exactly,
this is what
I want the
number to look like. That's when independence
I don't know who gave that
institutions.
instruction, but it clearly looked like there was.
Independence of institutions.
So let me say this. And me, I knew from that time. Sure, I said it. Data is garbage in, garbage out. If I want, and this is how I understand statistics to be. If I want the number of this phone to turn out to be black, right? There is a systematic way you do it that it turns out to be black. What you've just done is you've made you want black was the agenda, but you went through indigo because it kind of looked like black. And now we are saying it's not really black. And you're like, just look at it from this angle. Tilt your head a little to the left. And it's just, so it didn't make any sense. I don't
So what do you think the number looks like in a few days when it comes out? 30.
Yeah.
28 to 30.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They already know for them to be doing this engagement.
Yeah.
And they were told, which is why, so even...
I mean, they knew because they did the numbers, right?
So, and I think...
I can see the headlines. Inflation roars.
I think, again, you look at what the markets tell you, right?
Yeah.
I think for the first time, the last order book they had on T-bills, the one that came out 2 weeks ago was the first time that the yield rate actually went higher than what they'd been given in prior months. So you just pay attention to that and you sort of have a sense of, okay, they already know what's coming as well.
Anyway, God bless The MBS. All right, guys. We've gone through quite a bit of the show. So we're just going to go into buy, sell, hold. So first of all, I think the buy, sell, the first buy, sell, hold. Otuba had already said it, but I think it's. Do we get? How will I put it now? Okay, so the next Fed chair basically is a yes man.
You said it.
Buy, sell, hold. No, I'm saying opinions. I'm asking. It's basically a yes man. Buy, sell, hold.
So, I went to read some of the philosophies. Again, the people are you read. Is like, I don't know Pelumi. I need to know how he thinks about things, right? Especially if an economist or someone that writes stuff. So, if you look at the work that the guy has done, right? His work or the impression he gave is, you can tell that clearly he's looking to align with the thinkings of Trump, right? Which is why I keep saying that Powell is the last line of defense, right? It's almost like, how you think of the government and you say, for example, now when you look at that Buhari, the only person that remained in that government from the prior government was Murphy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When you look at Jagaban's government, the one person that remained in the government that became almost a bone was Mele. For some reason, he survived. He kept surviving until he could not survive anymore. So, for me, is same thing here, right? Let's for in a good way. I will assume that Powell is being very. I look at my data. My data will determine my decision, right? And I would remain up and above. I'll keep the standards. Because I'm saying that at this point in your career, at that age, I just don't see how you will compromise your entire career over this, right? And the same thing is why why you see even the oil companies are telling Trump that we can't go and invest in Venezuela because first of all, you want an average oil price of $50. Right? Who is going to go and put in capex at $50 oil environment? You get what I'm saying? Like, if you said you wanted a $70 oil environment and you said that putting capex, economics. But then your tenure in government is also 3 years. So what happens? You've entered Venezuela essentially illegally, in principle, right? And your even the house has told you that you can't do further military whatever. So who's going to go and put in $100 billion in Venezuela, knowing that the outcome of that money is going to enter voicemail or Def Jam, right? I mean, Chevron is there, so Chevron can build incremental capacity, but I just don't see how a Mobil will do want to go back and start doing.
Is ConocoPhillips there?
No, it's just Chevron. It's Exxon and Conoco that got their assets confiscated.
Yeah.
So I think that yes, this is the last. Again, Powell is our last line of defense, and once it's gone, then.
So buy, sell, hold. The new man is a yes man. You agree? Yes. Buy, sell, hold. New guy.
Yeah, 100%. I think that. Yeah, I think we even slowly we saw. I think we even saw Powell buckle a little bit this year because he was always saying, if you listen to the narrative of from 2024 through to 2025 or most of 2025, he always said that inflation. Then at some point he started talking about
jobs.
you know,
yeah. Power is power.
When I saw that job conversation, I was like, okay, this is the capitulation of of Powell. So the next guy comes in and we
it might even be true. It might even be just coincidental that he just was that person. He might have nothing to do with the opposition. He might have just played himself into that situation, really. Well, buy, sell, hold.
Not buy.
But you know what buy? Okay, buy. Yeah, you know what buy.
I totally know.
Watch the shows.
Okay, no buy, hold, no buy. All right, so the second buy, sell, hold is back home, really for Nigeria. Buy, sell, hold. Inflation comes in at sub 20%.
Which one? The new month? December?
Yeah.
Where are we now?
This last month.
But December is a spike, right?
Mm-hmm.
November
Okay.
was 14.5.
Yeah.
So December is when you're expecting a spike.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but inflation, the next inflation number we're expecting is 27 to 30 now.
And that's what I'm saying.
So-
Wait, I'm going somewhere. We expect
Okay.
buy, sell, hold sub 20%.
Inflation.
Yes.
No.
The December number?
The December
Yeah.
number.
Yeah.
No, sell.
Let's not sell now.
Huge sell. Wow, what do you know?
I don't know anything. I don't know anything. But I have a sneaky feeling.
Okay.
I have a sneaky feeling that
No, so whatever it is, they choose to publish a number that is, does not represent, that's, everybody knows. If
I think we generally assume that.
I mean, the compromise is they want to publish two numbers, right?
I
That's
think
what
we
they want.
generally assume that a lot of people care.
That's a fair point to make.
So when Dr. Kale was around, Dr. Kale had one. It was, and I can share this. I mean, he's no more Surgeon General. He was always concerned about how the general public received the numbers. So he went over and beyond to make sure that the numbers had serious integrity. So night before or day before, it was almost like top secrets. We're hiding in different kinds of situations just to make sure that the numbers were published before government officials heard about it.
Actually, now Bloomberg publishes it before. NBS.
So it's we used to say what is called the embargoed version. So we'll send it out the day before and then send it to government officials the next day.
Oh, really?
So even if you say,
Yeah.
even if you tie all of us,
Yeah.
the numbers have gone. So there was he made sure he was always big on the fact of integrity to the point where it was looked at as this guy he's not nationalist, he's not patriotic, but the guy was like, no. The numbers. These are the numbers. I have
No bone in this fight. Yeah.
the numbers are the numbers, but I have a sneaky feeling.
I mean,
I have a sneaky feeling. This MBS. So such statistics offices are supposed to be like the court of law, blind, right? If the numbers come in as 2, and everybody expected 200, report 2. It's not your. It doesn't. Nothing. It's not your business how it came in as 2.
The numbers are the numbers. Yeah.
The numbers are the numbers. This office seems to be very concerned about
Perception.
color.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
We'll find out soon enough.
I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong.
No, I think the reason why
because I've been right through many times on this thing about.
No, the reason why I took the other side, right, being above 20, is again back to the point around what's happening in the treasury market. It's just the signal I needed to see to know directionally where things are headed.
I know the treasury market have no oversight on what MBS is doing. They just have signaled on their own numbers.
Fair?
Yeah. Because quite a few institutions have their own statistics office. Why? The question I asked Mario is not because I was asking him. I've seen the office. I have been to the statistics office of the central bank. So it's not. I'm not asking what I don't know. I have been there. Yeah. So it's yeah. it's quite detailed. All right. So final buy, sell, hold. You are not in on this. I think it's only Arnold I can ask because Otuba will be biased. Buy, sell, hold, Pelumi.
I think we need to have him back. Actually.
Yes. I like this was a very, and it's good that Ogodre was not leading this conversation because we would have gone deep into global politics. We would have,
immigration. I was not ready for that conversation because immigration conversation is very sensitive.
I know,
and
but
it's extremely sensitive. Also because with social media, you don't know what's AI. This is with me, right? So now I just assume everything I see is AI. Until I can prove it otherwise, because you don't know whether there is really an Islamization of the West or not, and you don't really know what's going on, right? So I'm very when it comes to immigration stuff,
so it's also why I'm very worried about how Nigeria treats history in schools. All you have to do is read history to understand that what we are seeing now is not particularly new.
The problem with our history is we don't even. If you ask all of us, right? Can you even draw your family tree?
Yeah, but that's up to us, though.
It's up to us. It's up to us. But I'm saying is that again, that's just history starts
at the smallest.
From the smallest unit. So I think one of the things that I've something I hope I can do this year is I want to sit down my parents in front of the camera, right, and tell them to tell the tale
of their family,
of their life.
So that's something that I'm doing already. So I'm going to the elders, and
I think you should document it. Now we don't have to write it in paper. Put a camera there, let them record it, so that your children and children can actually sit down and hear grandpa.
That DG Pro. The camera, get one.
It's perfect, yeah.
I'm telling you, I go one.
Because I found out so much about my family history just by going to the old boys.
It takes
and there's so many stories.
But it is useful.
Super useful.
It's useful.
Not to poke at you, so I can still get my invite back. That's how I found out about your situation.
But then the history we sell is Mongo Park.
No. But if you there's no.
There are that's what we read.
Because I don't understand why Mongo Park is in
there are some good authors that have come out.
Max, your loan is you went to read it, right? You went to get that.
Oh, you're talking about in schools?
Yeah. What you get?
I can't speak on that, right? But I'm talking about what's available on the bookshelf. So right now, you can actually find some good historians.
They're not very many guys from Lagos who didn't grow up in Lagos, who have experienced the Eyo culture. I'm not talking about the recent Eyo culture. I'm talking about the Eyo culture of the 80s,
early 90s.
Basically how it was.
Yep.
And that's because, of course, my mom's grandmom was still living in Tafaji, so would go and stay with her, and we didn't have to go far because you just stand in front of your compound, and it was the procession was in front of, and I still remember vividly. It's probably one of the strongest culture feelers I've had as a person, where I could relate with something that was bigger than me as a people, and at that time I started asking Momsi, because I know that in Yoruba land they have Oriki. I don't know how to explain it in English. Please, if you don't know what I'm saying. So
Oriki is your historical praise chants.
Thank you.
What does that mean?
I didn't know how to explain it in English.
So like for my father, my family now is Lulaigbe. Luji. That's my father's. Now, what does that mean? My grandfather was a cocoa farmer who was the first man to ever have glass windows. So Lulaigbe is some of these things that you
get.
Yeah.
So you'll be told about. So when they're trying to give you a chant and how you sort of know, okay, I'm back. It will start from your great-grandfather down to your grandfather, down to your father, and then they will then. I mean, most of us don't go back as often to our hometowns, right? Because at this stage you would have had your own Oriki as well.
To pass
based on what you've done in life. That's
lovely.
And then when you get that chant, you then feel really.
So I had to find that out about my own family, and it was such a beautiful thing to understand.
It is,
and I maybe next December.
I think you were in that. I think you were in Speakeasy that day. We kind of ran into this guy who does movies, and he was talking about how they're saying this was the same complaint about people are just not documented. I think it was Gojo that was speaking, or Gojo was there. And this guy, was talking about how they're saying there was a movie that was done, right, about something about the creeks, Delta, whatever. That when the guy got phone calls from the guys that own the creeks.
See, you didn't pretend to be us and me.
It's actually from there. So when they told him that, I think there's stories that
should not be
told.
Yeah.
And you have today, some is that Nafi uses low quality billionaires where people are rewriting history in form of books. I'm not saying people don't want to
say the
true story.
The true story.
An embellishment or what the truth is.
I think it's important.
With Nigerian history.
I mean, the thing is, I'm lucky because someone documented my great grandparents and my great great grandparents, but it was documented by a great grand uncle.
So can you pass that on now to your?
That's the plan. Yeah, that's exactly the plan. Because but we can go into it.
That's where this
I figured out. I figured that's what it was.
Anyways, thank you guys. Please harass Ogodre in the comments. He does this to me every time. I don't know why. I harassed him in the comments, but it was a great show. A great show. I really enjoyed this. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Till next week, we'll catch you. Drink some mics. Have a good one. Stay liquido.